Welcome, Leo, to your Leo March 2021 reading and forecast. This month we're going to use tarot, but as you subscribers know, love and affection to you, we often in the cards have astrology, numerology and mysticism arise as well, don't we, in the course of our reading. Of course, for you Leos, there's a number of Leo subscribers that I've done personal readings for recently, and it's been great to get to know you personally. And if you would like to have a personal clairvoyant reading, I use a little bit of tarot, but a lot of other things as well, then just check out the information that's in the description box below, and you can see how easy it is for that to happen from wherever you are living in the world. Now, we're going to draw 5 cards because that's all we're going to need. Each card for us is jam-packed full of information. And there is the 8 of Cups. So we shall see what they have to say for us. What's this one? The Knight of Cups. The 8 of Cups, the Knight of Cups. A little bit of emotion going on there, probably. The 5 of Coins. Beautiful, beautiful paintings in these. I might point out some of the interesting imagery for you. There's the 8 of Coins, the 5 of Coins and the 8 of Coins. And this one is the Queen of Wands. Fantastic. Why don't you come and sit down next to me? I'll bring the camera around here for you as well. We'll have a great look at the imagery on these cards while I do the reading for you. Now, next month's reading will be published on Wednesday, the 10th of March at 2 p.m. US Eastern Time. Now, this 8 of Cups and this 5 of Coins are very closely linked to one another, I feel. Let's look at the imagery on both and then I'll talk about them. Let's have a look first at the imagery here. Now, first there is the 5 of Coins. And what do we have here? Well, it appears as if there is a youth kissing the hand of a young maiden in the center, showing that theirs is really an illicit relationship. And then first of all, on this coin here, we have the Chariot of Mars. And what we really have is, we have scenes which go and represent the disorder of nature. At the top here, we have fire burning through crops. Here is earth and an earthquake occurring, wind blowing trees together, and here is a large wave coming in, about to consume some buildings. Let's look at the imagery on the 8 of Cups and see what it has to say. Well, a crusader in armor and a blue cape embraces a woman in pink. Around them, 8 cups show various themes of life. Now here we have a youth confessing to a friar, a puppet theater going on here, and there would have been Pulcinella, I think, back there. The sun and the moon are beneath him there. Then there is a procession occurring in this card with young girls throwing flower petals. An eagle grabs a frog in this card here. Here we have a veiled figure. Here we have a woman being frightened by a spider. A remorseful prisoner looking up at the bars that constrain his freedom. And what might this be? Oh, this looks like it's a person exorcising a demon. And if let's look first at this 8 of Cups and see what it is. This is the first link. And this is Saturn ruling the first decan of Pisces. For me, really, this is the lord of abandoned success. Saturn, as you will probably know, is about structure, organization, discipline. It's a heavy energy and deals with responsibility, whereas Pisces is intuitive, spiritual, deals with fantasy, and is quite emotional. But what happens here is that Saturn deadens the waters of Pisces completely. Saturn dominates and suffocates the joy of Pisces. And there is the flightiness of Mercury in this card as well, because for me, the number 8 mystically is associated with the planet of Mercury. So the overall influence represents dark Saturn and no growth. Now the other thing is that in ordinary astrology, Mercury is in detriment in Pisces, and so we have conflict here as well. Now you may well feel that there is some stagnation in your life, possibly even no interest in friends or personal projects. It's almost as if you are denying yourself pleasure at some time. There is a lack of effort to get up and go, which may be a reaction to feeling empty in your life or without anything that fulfills you. It's a time, and it is now time for you to consider yourself, set some limits, and say no. It may be an old behavior pattern to always direct your love towards people from whom nothing comes in return. This may be a sign indicating your fears of accepting love. Now, what people come to mind for you in this context? Are you ready to dare to set limits and stand by them? In what situations do you hide your true feelings? Develop your own affirmation on the basis of positive thoughts. You know, there is an angel that is associated with the energy of this card, and it is to be found, the angel's name is Rahael, and that is one of the 72 names of God derived from chapter 14 of the book of Exodus of the Hebrew Bible or Old Testament. But there is another book in that Old Testament, which is the book of Psalms, and I'm pretty sure it is Psalm 16 verse 5, which says, "The Lord is my allotted share and portion. You control my fate." Now, meditating on that, with every step you take and each moment that passes, you will feel comfort, confidence, and a stronger sense of direction. But there is also associated with you now, I think, some sort of worry associated with your material affairs. And this worry is, I suppose, highlighted by the aggressive actions of nature in this card here. Remember them again? Here is fire burning crops, an earthquake, the wind blowing over things and destroying trees, and a wave about to come in. Well, this is Mercury. Mercury ruling the first decan of Taurus. And the speed and fluidity of Mercury is weighed down by slow, heavy Taurus. Now, fives in this card here, they're associated with instability. And after what has been a temporary stability. And it speaks to me of worries, a lack of belief, a feeling of isolation, where you feel you are down on your luck, can relate to unemployment. But something of losing your faith is what I'm getting here. A sense of brooding or pessimism. Problematic communications, even if deep down inside you are having irrationally some sort of survival fears. Now, I think that this worry has been going on for some time and you haven't dealt with it. You might be asking yourself, am I getting myself into a situation I may not be able to get out of? Will events overwhelm me? Well, you know, worry is about past and future, neither of which exist and neither of which can you do anything about. And ask yourself, if you knew, for example, that you were definitely going to die at 2 p.m. on the 14th of next month, would you be worried about the things that you are worried about now? Or would you be looking at every single moment of life that is in front of you now, tasting every mouthful of food, enjoying every drink, laughing at every conversation, admiring nature, reveling in relationship? Is there something which poses a threat to your overall securities. You see, this is the Taurus aspect of it. Now, this might be unexpected expenses or job worries, or maybe even a disruption in your family life. But you need to recognize that worrying, first of all, does nothing, and two, can, by causing you to do nothing, make things work. My suggestion is, if you are worried about things, just give it to God. Give it to God and say, I trust in you. Give me the way out of this. The next card in this suit, incidentally, is all about success. And so this is a temporary thing that you are going through here. But the combination of these two cards together in your spread, I think, can give rise to a sense of internal emotional pain, don't you think? Some pain. But you must understand that your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. Even as the stone of the fruit must break, that its heart may stand in the sun, so you must know pain. And could you keep your heart in wonder at the daily miracles of your life, your pain would not seem less wondrous than your joy, and you would accept the seasons of your heart, even as you have always accepted the seasons that pass over your home, as you would watch with serenity through the winters of your grief. Much of your pain is self-chosen, you know. It is the bitter potion by which the physician within you heals your sick self. Therefore, trust that doctor and drink his remedy in silence and tranquility. For his hand, though heavy and hard, is guided by the tender hand of the unseen, and the cup he brings, though it burn your lips, has been fashioned of the clay which the potter has moistened with his own sacred tears. Let's have a look at this 8 of coins which is here. Wow, what is this image, do you think? Well, let me have a look. Well, I think that the artist of this deck chose this card to illustrate his own life while remaining faithful to the traditional symbolism of the card. His wife and eldest daughter appear in the center, and their cat is on the floor. The artist climbs up a stepladder to paint a coin showing the magician. The next coin down is the Popess, with the sign of the moon. Below is the Empress, right, yeah, with Venus. Then the Emperor with Jupiter. And when we get over to this side here, we have, what would this be? This looks like it is Strength with Mars. Then the Star with Mercury. Over here then we have Judgment with Saturn and the World with the Sun. Now the artist paints in the fashion he uses to make frescoes, I suppose, using a wand tipped with a ball to steady his hand. Now this is the Lord of Prudence for me, this energy. And it is the Sun ruling the first decan of Virgo. You know, that 23rd of August to the 2nd of September. And as before, 8, here we have Mercury. Here again, mystically for me in the numerology, which is really good because in ordinary astrology, Mercury rules Virgo and is exalted in Virgo. So this is very favorable. And here I think we have the Sun energizing Virgo's hard work and attention to detail. Now this card can also signify pregnancy and birth. Do you know, you must sometimes realize, and this is talking about this card here in particular, you must sometimes realize that there is a strength in doing nothing at all. Sow the seed, sit back and wait for the harvest. I think this is the time when you'll be quite cautious, taking calculated risks, being careful with money. Learning, education, and upskilling would be useful things to be doing at this time. But also be careful physically around things, because I'm getting the idea of accidents here. And I think you may well have the desire to have attention to structure and detail. Do you know, it's also about not overextending yourself or underextending yourself. Rather, it's about being in the sweet spot where you can see all the bases that lie out in front of you. This is saying that there is the requirement for time and patience to develop something. Don't rush it as it's a long-term thing, and be prepared to bide your time and let it come into fruition. And this energy here is encouraging you to continue what you are doing, as eventually it is going to lead to success. Sure, it might require a lot of dedication, focus, and patience, but as time passes, you get closer to your goal. Now, it may not be apparent to you at the moment, but events are unfolding around you that will lead you to your destination, so don't worry. You may need to take some additional training and study to upskill yourself and to advance so that you can get to where you want to go. But you'll also need to manage your energies between different parts of your life. That which is coming into flower in you is of exquisite beauty and delicacy. Provide for it the protection and nourishment it needs. You don't need to force anything. Everything unfolds at the proper time. Are you giving yourself the protection and nourishment you need now for your development? And say to yourself this, and this simple thing: I relax and I trust life. Well, let's have a look at the Knight of the Chariot of Waters. Let's have a close look at this image, and then we'll see what it can tell us, and we can go from there. Well, this looks like the image of Rasputin. Rasputin, who was that mad monk in Russian history, who was advisor to the last Tsarina, Alexandra. You've heard of Nicholas and Alexandra? Well, he was her advisor. Now, some people say he might have been her lover, but there is no proof of that. In any event, he was reviled by the rest of the people in Russia at the time. Now, here he is sitting atop a mule, the mule sneering incidentally. Look at him, look at the face on that mule. Now look at the character. Here he has, look at these boots. Now these are the boots of a sort of a criminal or a brigand. That's here. And yet the fastenings on his jacket are of gold, which speaks of wealth. Here he is holding a chalice, which has the image of Cupid pulling a bow here. And the reins of the mule are held in his left hand, and his left hand and fingers are pointing out to you. It's on dry ground here, and in the background, a mob of peasants with torch flames advance towards him. Now, I'm getting a lot of Scorpio and a lot of Libra around this, so these people could well be important to you. Now, why am I getting Scorpio and Libra around here? Now, as a knight, he's air, and as in cups, he's water. Now, air and water strengthen each other, but they are neutral. So in elemental dignity rules, there are no elemental contradictions in his makeup. But with him, the element, I think, of water combines with Scorpio, which I feel to make him quite an intense character. As a fast river flows, so does he, trying to get the most out of life as is possible. Now, this is a person. Now, court cards can, as you may have heard me say before, be of either gender, irrespective of how they happen to be drawn. But I do get the feeling here of a young man who is full of subtlety, perhaps a secret violence, craft. Could well be an artist, or someone like an artist or an actor, in a way, who is calm on the surface, but this masks an intense passion, beneath him. This craving I'm getting about him. Now, the character of this person, look, he is completely without conscience in the ordinary sense of the word. I'm getting this from this sense of Rasputin here. He is perfectly ruthless. He cares intensely for power, for information, and his own aims. He feels no responsibility for others, and he can't be relied upon. Now, as I say, he cares intensely for his own aims, and if you're ever in any doubt as to where you stand in relation to him, in his mind, he is number one. Now, what I think that this suggests in a way to you is that could you see, I'm getting also that Libra there, the ability of air to that Libra air sign, the ability to detach, because Libra is an air sign, from the heavy, intense, controlling emotions of Scorpio. So this shows someone who has a lot of poise and control of their emotions, but being cool and detached can often be a front for insecurity and fear, actually. But what I think it's saying to you is that you may well appear calm on the outside at times, but that this is going to mask a passion and intensity within you, which may make you quite volatile at situations. You will have immense ability. You will have a lot to offer, but make sure you follow through on your commitments to other people. Now, his main responsibility is to himself. Now, certainly there's no harm in looking after yourself. You've got to look after yourself before you can look after people, I suppose. But bear in mind that he can be secretive, hiding his deepest desires. This may well be someone in arts or music or a great interest in things to do with artistic pursuits such as fashion, decoration, makeup, hair, that type of thing. Certainly this is a person here, and I think you will be able to shed insight into other people's lives. In his case, it's because he's usually done everything himself, but with you, because you'll have a great degree of wisdom with you. I think this could also represent a period of rest and healing for you. And this can be necessary after a period of difficulty in someone's lives. And it allows you to mend before you go back out into a more productive phase. But remember, if you don't use the time well, you can have a repeat cycle, can't you? But there's also the potential here for beauty and balance. There is an intensity here which resonates with Scorpio that's ruling the card. For me, it adds an emotional depth to sexual relationships, giving it an intensity. But it doesn't just mean sexual fulfillment, but it means getting the most out of life by living it to the full. Remember here when we were talking about worry and said that if you were going to know for sure that you were going to die at a particular time next month, you would live every day to the full. Well, I'm here to tell you that none of us are getting out of this alive, and that day will come. So live every day to the fullest and live it. Because I think that you'll have the energy of the sun in the intense sign of Scorpio here. I think it's also important that you accept your sexual needs and passions and live them out with awareness, because you will discover a lot in this process. Give yourself totally to the experience and observe yourself in it. Maybe ask yourself, what secret wishes are you unwilling to admit to? And spend some time each day visualizing yourself with your desires without getting lost in them. But say this to yourself: I now live out my sexual desires. This makes me more vital and fulfilled. Now this takes us to the one of my favorite girls, the Queen of the Thrones of Fire. Let's have a look at her. What does she have to say to us? Well, let's look at some of the imagery here and see what there is. Well, the Queen of Wands gazes amiably from her country armchair. Her bosom is full and motherly, her arms sturdy and well-shaped, and she's red hair, and her copper crown is wrought as if it's in flames, wrought in a sense of flames. Now a tabby cat, as one might expect in the suit of fire, is curled upon her lap, and she holds a bunch of red flowers up here, coming here on the top of the wand. A lion's fur is under her feet. To the left and right there are two babies, here a baby of color and here a white baby. And in the background here we see sunflowers growing, as you might expect. Now, a lot of Pisces and Aries around this card at this time, I have to say. They might be important to you because the spirituality and sensitivity of Pisces, I think, works in with the ambition of Aries for you this month. Now, that can lead to something of a rough ride because Pisces will give you sensitivity and inspiration, and Aries will give you leadership and self-confidence. Now, this speaks to me of a woman who is adaptable, with a great degree of persistent energy, a calm authority. Powers of attraction. Now, put your seatbelt on because people are going to find you very physically attractive during this month, and do with that what you will. Now, she can be generous and intolerant and impatient with opposition here. She has an immense capacity for friendship and love, but it's at her initiative. In some respects, there is a sort of a self-complacent vanity or even a snobbery about her. She can brood, come to a wrong decision as a result, and react with savagery. And she can be quite quick to take offense and harbor revenge without good cause. And she can have fits of the blues, which she can try to overcome with the booze, or by panic-stricken outbursts of ill-considered fury. But this is about change, self-knowledge, and compassion, I think, is also something that I see here for you. You are going through the process of self-discovery and remembering your power. You got to where you are by resolving difficulties in the past, and now you are a stronger character. This is a time to express your natural power and beauty and move on from the past. Now, she knows what she wants, and I think you are going to know what you want, and you'll be living something of an active life. And you're definitely going to be creating a powerful first impression. Now, you have worked on yourself and made progress. It's time to learn how to share this with others. Let your self-realization be expressed in your daily life. How can you share what you have found for yourself with other people? And say to yourself, I am a radiant being filled with light and love. Well, what a fantastic set of cards for you. Well done, Leo. That's the way it is for you this month. Well, that was fantastic. I really enjoyed doing that. What a fascinating reading, and what a great month it looks like it's going to be for you. Now, please do me a favor, press the like button. It's good for the YouTube thing, and it's good for the channel. I appreciate it. And look, there's one thing I want you to remember until I see you next month, and it is this, and remember it always, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, it's bye for now.